Hey everyone, I am Khadijah Go Out with Purpose. Today I'm going to be speaking about self-love and what self-love is in action. Just talk about me. I give a backstory a little bit about me. About 5 years ago, I went through something really bad, and it was very hurtful, and I wasn't practicing self-love after the situation happened. I wasn't practicing self-love during the situation. Even before the situation, I really wasn't practicing and putting into action self-love like I needed to. I thought I was, but once I started reading a lot more books, talking to my therapist about certain things, bringing things up to people, watching things, having discussions, I started to gather information, and then also started to look at the fact that I really didn't know exactly how much I wasn't loving myself. And so hopefully today, and as the series goes, we all can learn something. Please remember to like, follow, subscribe, and comment. Give me your opinion on it. I'm here to learn as well, and also give my experiences. I always say I'm an expert on me. I'm an expert on how I learned to practice self-love on myself, and how I know now what self-love is, and continue to learn what self-love is. So let's talk about what does self-love mean. So self-love is the appreciation of one's own worth and their value. So I wrote down definitions of what self-love, as far as examples of self-love and how to, put it in action. So self-love in action is talking about yourself with love, prioritizing yourself, giving yourself a break from your self-judgment, trusting yourself, being true to yourself, being nice to yourself, setting healthy boundaries, finding your love language. So, and then also being okay with who you are at this present moment. You gotta grow, we gotta evolve, but being okay with who you are at this moment, and knowing that you're not perfect, and that you need improvement, and or you wanna improve and you wanna grow. Today I'm gonna talk about the 5 love languages. But I have a 6th love language, so I'm going to talk about that at the end. To begin your self-love process and journey, I would say to take a self-assessment. Self-assessment about who you are, what your likes or dislikes are, getting to know you, and who do you think you are. I have this saying now that I've been saying a lot lately, is what you think people think you are is probably who you think you are. We'll say, people say that I have an attitude, and I have this, and I do that, and I'm this. And it's probably what you think of yourself as well. So, and if those are things that you want to change, if you take pride in those things, great. But if those are things that you want to change, you got to do a self-assessment, right? So the first thing we're going to talk about tonight is our love language. So we have 5 love languages, as I said. We have gifts, words of affirmation, quality time, acts of service, personal touch. And for me, number 6 is music, because I think music is a love language as well. I think it's a universal love language. So I'll talk about that closer to the end, because it's one of my favorite love languages. It's mine. It's my top one. So the first one I'm going to talk about is gifts. So we have this situation, right? And you might love gifts, right? So you might be a person that likes expensive gifts, or you might be a person that likes gifts that people might make for you, or there's no value on a gift. It's just more about the intention. And as we talk about these love languages, you got to break down the love languages as well, because for gifts, a person can buy you a rose, but you don't like roses, right? but they can buy you a diamond ring and it's like, yeah, that's what I want. So learning what kind of gifts you like is one thing to do, to write down, so you know what kind of gifts your love language is. Your love language is when it comes down to gifts. The next one is words of affirmation. And so as we have this thing now, it's been several years, I don't know, affirming things, you know, talking about who I am bold, I am love, I am love, I am all these things, right? But there are people that can tell you, that can affirm things in you as well. And those things can be negative or positive. But what do you like to hear? What kind of affirmations do you like to hear? So you want to write that down. So if you're a person that like words of affirmation and somebody says, well, you're strong, but that you're like, no, I don't like that kind of affirmation. I want somebody to tell me that I'm kind and I'm gentle and I'm loving and I'm caring. Knowing what kind of words of affirmation helps in knowing, you know, in practicing your love language and helping your partner or whoever you're with know what kind of love language you like to practice as well. So, words of affirmation again, I am, but also you are. Another one is quality time. So people who like quality time, right? We assume a person who likes quality time, it means quality time all the time, but that's not necessarily true. Quality time can mean I want to spend this amount of time with you, right? But then after that, I'm going to need my quality time with myself. Quality time can be self-quality time as well, because you're so busy doing everything for everybody else. Your love language could be self-quality time, family quality time, working out quality time. So there's there's various ways of doing quality time. And so knowing that is a good way to let your partner know. So when you say, you know, I want to spend this day with you, great. And then they understand, like the next day you're like, I'm going to go to the park and I'm going to chill by myself and take pictures of trees and flowers and whatever. And they understand that that's your self-quality time. Another one is acts of service. So acts of service, I had a conversation with someone and they were like, well, my acts of service is I'll do this for this person and do this for this person. And I was like, oh, so you're saying your acts of service, your love language, acts of service is what you do for people. But what's your love language? Is your love language acts of service of what somebody does for you? And then we started going to a deeper conversation. So acts of service, right? Your acts of service could be someone taking out the trash, going to take your car to get washed, putting gas in your car. That's a gift, the way gas prices are now. But also, you don't want them to wash your clothes. Like, it's like, don't wash my clothes because you don't know how to wash my clothes. So different acts of service is something that we have to look at as well, because it's not always the same. Another one is personal touch. So we have PDA, right? And then we have at home personal touch. Some people do not like PDA out and about. They don't want people to see them holding hands or just cuddling and stuff. Some people aren't comfortable with that. But then when they're home, it's like they're kissy, feely, touchy, everything all over you. So understanding what kind of personal touch that person likes. Some people don't like to be touched behind their ears or their feet or whatever places they like to be touched. They don't like to be touched at, learning that and learning what you like, having that in your head. So when you're talking to that person, you're telling them, I love it when you caress the top of my hand, but I don't like it when you pinch the side of my chubbies. Just things like that. And also, I like holding your hand here, but when we're out there, I'm kind of cool. I'm kind of like, I need my little space. And that does, sometimes people don't understand that, but I think once you start to understand the concept of personal touch and how you like personal touch, you kind of can appreciate where they're coming from, because people just might not like PDA. And it's like, okay, I appreciate that. When we're at home, you love on me all the time, so I'm good. People can take people not liking PDA as something else, but that's a different story. Last but not least, we're gonna talk about my favorite, which is music. And that's my sixth love language. I added to the love languages. I love music. Music is my love language. You play me a song, you send me a song. I have friends send me songs, whatever, whoever. I love music. Music to me is it's soothing. It's therapy. It's a mood changer. It's everything. And I think when you learn a person's love language and you learn what kind of music they like, you can kind of gauge their mood and kind of just be like, okay, they're in this kind of mood right now and they like this kind of music. They seem a little bit sad. They might play a sad song and you're like, okay, what's going on? And it's like, okay, they're not in they're in a melancholy mood. But let's pick that up and get them going. So you find out what kind of music they like. They might like Carrie Underwood, but don't like Taylor Swift. So basically learning what kind of music you like, is important. Because some people like country, some people like hip hop. Your partner might love hip hop. You might like neo soul, and you want them to play neo soul, but the whole time you're in the car with them, they're playing hip hop or some other music, and you're like, oh my God, I love music, but this music is just irritating. So having that conversation is very important. I hope this opens up more dialogue for everybody in their relationships, in their friendships or whatever, to talk about their love language and the depth of love language. I know there's a book out there, forgot the author's name. I'll put it in the description. Thanks for chiming in. Like I said, this is my first YouTube. I'm gonna have the series, self-love. Actually, it's gonna be 52 weeks of self. So we're gonna have self-love, the self-assessment. We're gonna talk about self-discipline, self-care. So just going through all of these actions of improving ourselves is something I'm working on, and I hope that we all can work on with each other. So I am Kadeja, Go It With Purpose. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night.